I'd like to share with you about a book that's very important to me that I try to review often. The tips in this book will get you ahead, whether you're hosting a dinner party or trying to get a job promotion or just trying to improve your relationships at home and with family and friends. So the name of this book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it's written by Dale Carnegie. So I call this my little black book. This book was written back in the 1930s when people were trying to get back on their feet after the Great Depression. And you might have heard of the Carnegie Institute. It still exists today, and they do all kinds of training in business and other things there. But this book that I have is super old. The pages are yellow and dog-eared. You can still find a copy of it, and I really recommend the original version. There's been a couple of revisions, but without anybody's comments, just straight from Dale Carnegie. So this book, I know the title's a little bit cheesy, How to Win Friends and Influence People, but this was from back in a day where the title of the book told you exactly what it was about. So it starts out with some of the most simple precepts of relationships with other people. In one of the very beginning chapters of the book, it talks about just giving people a smile. It talks about remembering people's names and how important it is that when you talk to somebody, you mention their name. And then it goes on further to discuss a lot more tips and tricks that you can learn to have people really appreciate you, and you learn to appreciate others. I will put a link in the description on how this book got started, on how you can order one, and also to a blog post that talks about this book. I really recommend reading it. When our daughter was a teenager, we had her read it and try to adopt the concepts that are in there. It talks about how to be a welcome guest at a party. So that's helpful when we're entertaining or when we're invited to things or when we have our own parties. It talks about just so many things. I could go on and on all day about really connecting with people and what it can do for you and for them. And so I really recommend this in pretty much any aspect of your life. If you're having, if you'd like to have a better workplace environment, the things that are shared in this book will really help to improve those and maybe help you to understand the basic thinking of most people. In my blog post, I also talk about the golden rule. And I'm sure if you went to Sunday school or you've probably heard it before, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that is a basic place to start before your book arrives, to think about how others feel. And sometimes if you take a few moments every day when you're thinking, I feel this, or I wish this, or maybe put yourself in the place of the other person that you're talking to or dealing with or hoping to improve your relationship with, and think about how they're feeling in this situation. So that's kind of a place to start. So I hope you'll read my blog post. It's kind of real explanatory on a lot of this stuff. The book is such a quick read. It's super easy reading. There's not a lot of hard things you're going to have to look up in here. Now, this is a lot from the standpoint of a businessman because, like I said, it was written when people were trying to find a new job and get a new career. But there's nothing even in these stories about businessmen and stuff that you won't be able to use if you think about it in what you're trying to accomplish. So whether you're a hostess or a business manager or just a spouse and a parent, I really recommend that you get a copy of this book. I have trouble putting it down, even though I've read it many, many times. When I'm going to do a public speaking, I refer to this book just because it reminds me to consider my audience, to also consider what's going on in the world around us, that we can kind of adapt the principles of how people feel and what they're hoping for and what some of our dreams are, based on other people. So, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and The Golden Rule. So I'm going to recommend Black and Gold to you, and I hope that this helps you out. All right, thank you.